Hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. You can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I am your girl, Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Her. And you know what I love a lot more? It's my cup mug here. Period. And you can get your cup mug at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. Get your cup mug, period.
Well, I'm David Healy. I am the resident Survivor super fan of this panel. And man, I'm ready to talk about one of the best seasons of Australian Survivor period ever. It's a good one.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Brooke. I'm passionate about pop culture, and I am, and always have been, the CEO of the Parvati Shallow Fan Club. And I'm telling you right now, this is the most through the roof the stocks have ever been. We are booming coming into this finale. And spoiler alert, the finale changed nothing. So
It changed something for me. We'll get into it.
As fellow members of the Parvati Shallow Fan Club above, we're all happy.
Absolutely.
But sadly, our plucky intern Jack could not be here. But
Yeah. He's working. He's working. So gotta make that coin, baby. And Logan's not here either. Another member who was here on some of the occasions. So we're wrapping this up with just the three of us, but it's okay because we're gonna get it done and we're gonna talk about it, and I'm excited. But before we do, there are things we need to discuss. Because if this is your first time, welcome. Here's a party for you. I hope it works. Yay. Party for you guys. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Um, if you could do us a solid, a quick favor, hit the subscribe button right now. You can do it right now because we are on a mission here at the Cup TV to get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year. The end of the year is rapidly approaching, and we need a lot more people to help us hit that 1,000. So I'm starting to beg a little bit because I want to make it happen. I've been doing this since the beginning of the year, and I will continue to do it to that last final day in December. So I'm begging you. I am not too proud to beg. Please, please, please subscribe to this channel. We are trying to get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year. And I would really, really appreciate it if you do, because we are constantly giving you content about all things competitive reality television. We are doing it here. We're doing it on our main channel at the Cup Pod for all things drag and drag race. And we're doing it on our ESC channel for all things Eurovision Song Contest. So please, if any of those tickle your fancy, subscribe to all of those channels. All those links will be in the description below. But subscribe to this one first because I've been begging from the beginning of the year. And I will continue to do that. But thank you to all who have subscribed. I already love you so very much. See, it says it. I love you. Uh, and then our audio podcast links are also in the description below. Please go and click that if you need to check us out on the go. We appreciate all of you who've been listening over there. Our Patreon is open. Check that out. Our where you can get your cup mug at Lana Creations that is in the description below. And all of this. Follow us on all of our socials too at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And also, another thing I'm coming to you about. If you've ever thought, hey, I like talking about Survivor Australia versus the world, or I like talking about Big Brother or Project Runway or Love Island Games or Traders or Amazing Race or any of these shows that we cover here, and you said, I want to do that, I could do that. I have a computer, I have a microphone, I speak good English, I could talk. Hit us up in our Instagram DMs because we are looking for new people to talk on this panel about all of these things here at the Cup TV and all of our other channels. So if you are interested in drag or drag race or Eurovision, please hit us up in our Instagram DMs. That's the quickest way to reach us, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So let us know if you're interested, and we would love to have you to give your point of view on everything. All right, y'all. This is it. We made it to the finale of what I have to say is one of the best survivors I've ever seen. I have enjoyed this shortened ride from beginning to the very end. And I, I this was just so good. This was the best survivor I have ever seen. And I've seen some really good survivors, but for me, this is my tops. And I know some people have other tops, other favorites for other reasons. No, well, no, this is my second favorite. Let me not be honest. This is my second favorite because Fiji will always be my top. Fiji will forever be my top. I don't care what happens. But this is my
Interesting
second
choice.
favorite.
No. That was not meant to be a read. Like, it's just not a common statement. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad take. It's just
I
an
was about to
interesting
say,
take.
well,
Yeah, not a read. Not a
no,
read.
no, okay. Well, no,
I've always said
Fiji
it's so underrated.
It's an underrated season. That's
so
just what I'm
underrated.
saying. It's interesting to hear someone say that, though, because I've always
Mhm.
thought Fiji was an underrated season of Survivor. I just think
Fiji
the
was
pre-merge is so boring. But, like...
Fiji was my favorite season for so many reasons. But yeah, I love Fiji. I will forever love Fiji. Those three people in the end, chef's kiss all the way around. But this season, for gameplay alone, I have to put it up there in my top three. I have to put it there because it is some of the best gameplay. It's been an interesting ride from beginning to end. I can't can't say too much. I can't not say that much about it. It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have this around the same spot too. Because I've watched a lot of Survivor. I've watched every season of Mainland US, except for 48, but that's for obvious reasons. But like, and where I'm at right now, I'd probably have this at number 3. And that's just because Philippines will always be my girl, and China will always be my girl. So coming out of
Good taste.
yeah,
Taste.
so being here with after those 2 seasons, and now I'm in. I gotta say, this is. I don't care if it was just 10 episodes. It was fantastic all the way through.
Fantastic.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been feeling top 3 as well. My top favorites have always been a little bit more common. Like a lot of people will say heroes versus villains, the US version, or Micronesia. But I don't know. This really feels like it fits in there. And what do those 3 seasons have in common? I don't know.
Parvati Shallow.
Parvati Shallow.
Parvati and Sari.
And
Sari's-
Sari.
Yes, we cannot. Even though she wasn't in Heroes versus Villains too long,
She was there.
And
there.
Parvati was targeted very early in all 3 of those seasons. She was the first target on every starting tribe since Cook Islands.
And she made it to the final tribal on all 3 of those seasons.
Mhm.
Queen.
That's queen behavior right there. I'm just saying, and then you got to acknowledge queen behavior when it's
First
there.
person to do that.
Yeah, she ate. But yeah, this was so good. This was so good. I came into this like excited and nervous, and because I got no spoilers. I got nothing going into this season, so I was very much like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just ready to see it. And I came home from what I was doing this afternoon, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. I had literally an hour to watch it, so I had to watch it at a quicker speed than I would have liked to. But I started watching it, and I was in it. People were calling me, and I was like, nope, decline, decline, decline. I'm in it. I'm in it. We come back to we're at camp after they have gotten rid of Shawnee, and not was it Shawnee? Yeah, it was Shawnee. Yeah, it was Shawnee. They got rid of Shawnee, and both Sari and Parvati are like, we made it. We got to this point. We have got to get to the final 3. We've got to get to the final 3. This is Parvati wants to rewrite history because she has said several times on many occasions she feels like Sari should have been in a final 3 with her in Micronesia, and she wants to rewrite the history and finally get into a final 3 with Sari. And they were like, the way we got to do this is it got to be me, you, and Janine got to take out Luke because it's got to happen. I love seeing them together and talking like that and that open, like, look, it's me and her. we got a package deal, and I don't really care how y'all figure it out. But we going to the end if we can. And Parvati was so serious about that, and Sari was very serious about that. And for me, it just warmed my little heart. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I love them.
Mhm. Yeah, I loved Parvati calling Sari her survivor soulmate. I was like, oh great, because if you'd asked me back in 2008 who is Parvati's survivor soulmate, I'd be like, well, probably Amanda. But Sari is so much more interesting to be a survivor soulmate. And what's also interesting is we have some conversations with Luke and Janine. It's crazy how
Mm,
we have two different pairs that have history together, but they're kind of opposite stories. We have the pair that was working closely together, wanted to get to the final three together until a twist said final two. But then on the other hand, we had Luke and Janine, who were in a very tight final four alliance until they weren't tight. First, we had Janine blindside David and Luke. Um, and then later on, Luke blindsided Janine. So it's they're trying to rewrite history and showing that
hmm
they can be loyal and stick with each other throughout the entire game. So just a really interesting poetic dynamic on both sides.
absolutely.
Yeah, I this made my heart happy. I'm not gonna lie. Um, as is anybody giving Suri any sort of praise, that always makes my heart happy. But specifically here, with knowing how Micronesia ended, which I will say Micronesia is an incredible season of Survivor. If you have not watched Micronesia, go take the time out of your day. It's on Paramount Plus. Go do that. Because it is at minimum top 5 season of all time globally. And the only reason I don't have it in my top 3 is because Philippines was my first season that I really watched, and then China was the first one I like deep dived into and like obsessed over. But getting to see this like full circle, like kind of a healing moment a little bit, because we know they've been close since. Like that's not anything we don't know about. And also, Parvati wasn't the one who voted out Sari; it was Amanda. So like I don't feel like they needed to have that necessarily, but getting to see them come back together on the same page fully this entire season and just run the table together in a way that I was so hoping for in Micronesia the first time I watched it. It's just so special. And oh god, this season has just been incredible just watching the two of them.
It has just been amazing. And they I just love seeing them play. I loved watching Janine and Luke's dynamic, hearing what happened because I didn't watch the season that they did yet, but hearing what happened and hearing how Luke got to that final four, and it was that back and forth, like you said, they were close until they weren't. To see them come this full circle moment and have this like, okay, here we are,
Mm-hmm.
can we do this? This is the spot that changed everything for us. Can we do this? And so I was like, okay, can they do this? Are they going to do this? I don't know, because it could go either way at this point. But they go, they go to the challenge because this is it. This is the final one, and everybody knows if you watched Australia Survivor, the final challenge is a doozy. Is always such like agonizing pain of a challenge. Is like they do the worst. They give them their worst at the final four, and I'm like, ooh. So when they walked into this challenge area, not only did we already know it was going to be bad, they made it look like it was going to be horrible. I was like, this
Mm-hmm.
set, y'all are killing me with this set right now because we had horns coming out this big old thing, and it's dark and it's huge, and then the pegs are sticking up in front. We're like, okay, we know. Then these weight bags, it was crazy. I was like, y'all are really y'all are hamming it up right now for everybody. It was wild.
It looked like a scene out of The Wicker Man.
A little bit,
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's why
Yes.
somebody's like, "Are you gonna have them on fire while we do
Right. It's like it felt like they were gonna like all of a sudden it was gonna bust out into a ball of flames behind them, and then the heat's just tickling their back. Like, what? No. It was
Mhm.
wild looking. I was like, what are we doing here? What's happening? But yeah, they have to stand on the pegs, and then they have to hold the weight bags, which is 20 pounds of their body weight. I think it was that he said. And
It was 20% of their body
20%?
weight, yeah.
20% of their body weight. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
20
and
pounds of their body weight. They
not
scooped out
20 pounds.
20
Shut
pounds.
okay. 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 I think it's your mission to embarrass me when I make mistakes, David.
Never.
I think it is. I think it is. I'm starting to believe it now.
I might have to go do this challenge so I can lose 20 pounds of my
You know
body.
what? I
I
think
love
it is.
it.
No, I'm just kidding. I know you do. I just starting to believe it's just starting to become a thing with you. But I can take it. I can take it. 20% of their body weight. Yeah, but I child, the second I saw that, I was like, I think I know what's gonna happen here. I think I know how this is gonna turn out because this is not the first of the endurance challenges that were, torturous a little bit on the body. And we saw how it turned out. And they get on these things. Everybody's doing good. 30 minutes in, everybody's doing really good, pretty stable.
Mhm.
We got a little Luke and his grunts, that happens. But 30 minutes in, Sari does fall off first. Not that surprising. But I'm impressed she lasts 30 minutes because, baby, I wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes on that thing. I'd have like, yeah, no, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Because, no. But she lasted 30 minutes. So I was like, work, Sari. I love that for you. I love it
Mhm.
for you. Um, And then an hour and 10 minutes have passed, and they have to now switch from the first stake or the first thing to the second one. Live transitions. Everybody makes it, and then Janine falls. And I was like, ooh.
She didn't make it for long.
She didn't make it for long. She got there though. I was proud of her for getting there, but she didn't
Mhm.
stand up there long because she fell off. And so it was
Hour
a showdown
15.
between our 50, yeah, Poverty and Luke are now the last ones. And boy, Luke was struggling. He was I
Mhm.
was like, just fall already.
Mhm.
I was surprised at one point he like fell backwards and was leaning on the
Yeah,
thing and he was allowed to like push himself off. I'm like, wait, you can
you
do
can
that?
do that because I
Because
would
why
have
not
did that a
just
long
do
time
that the whole
ago.
time?
I was
No,
just like,
literally, I was watching him do that. I was like, is he not gonna get disqualified? Like, is he
Right.
not like cheating? I was like, why are they not just doing this? This seems way easier. I
right,
guess
because if they
maybe it
were
would be
going
like
live,
more, maybe be more uncomfortable. I don't know, but
My guess
oh,
is they weren't allowed to do that, but if it happened by mistake, then they had to correct themselves right away, which he
Mhm.
did.
right, yeah. I mean, he did. He corrected it. Maybe they were just like, it's cool. It's the final two. Somebody finna fall, and
Mhm.
then they have to go into the third transition with the last peg that they get to step on, which is the smallest and the pointiest peg there is. And they get on there, and Luke, of course, is just, oh my god, yeah, oh my god, yeah, oh yeah. Party is standing there like a rock. She shake a little bit. She go a little,
I
oh.
feel the editors were like, wait, come on, do you all not have any footage of this looking hard for Parvati? Like, we need to make this look a little
Mhm.
bit closer
Because
than it is.
baby, she shook like a minute. She said, oh, okay, I'm good. I was like, what? She's a machine. Poverty Shallows is a machine. And she's standing there and she's looking solid, solid. Luke is struggling. Eventually, Luke literally just falls off the beam. He falls off, face like plants face because it couldn't do it anymore. And Poverty wins, which I'm like, we've been new. We've been new. She's beaten him before in challenges like this. We've been new. Poverty was. If Cass was up there, then maybe we'll have something going on. But yeah, this
Mhm.
was this was easy pickings. But it
In
lasted
this,
over an hour, so I love that.
Yeah, an hour
I'm
48.
just,
That's like a Pixar movie.
I'm just
Right.
gonna say, the second she won this challenge, I said, so the rest of this episode is irrelevant. Got it. That was just where my head was at. I was like, it doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter what happens. She's winning, and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
You say that, but this we'll talk about the jury. But the
Yeah,
jury
That's
has
how I
say-
felt in that moment. I was like, she's winning.
Mhm.
She's winning.
It was interesting. I kind of was like, okay, cool. We know what I can see. I could see a path here. I could see what can happen, but then I was like, I just need one more thing to happen. I just need one more thing to happen to make me feel okay with everything that's going on right now. Get back to camp, and Luke and Janine are talking, and Luke is like, listen, we've been we've been here together this whole time. We've been working together. I want to cash in that favor that that I gave you my idol to keep you safe, and I just want to cash in that favor right now with you. Just give me a chance. I just want to do fire. Give me a chance. And she was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I told you, I got you. Da 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 da. It's good. We're great. Meanwhile, Parvati and Saria are off talking like, we gotta get Janine to turn on Luke. We gotta get Janine to turn on Luke. And she's like, I'm gonna go. Saria's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. I'm gonna go talk to her and see what we can do. See, hopefully, we can get that to happen. So Saria goes and talks to Janine, and Janine is like, of course I want to get to the final three with you. This is what I want. This is what I've been wanting. I want to get to the final three. And Saria's like, good, because I just feel like if Luke is there, he has a really good shot at winning. And she's like, yeah, I know. She's like, but I definitely want to get to the end with you. That's what my whole plan's been. And she was like, cool, great, cool, they're good. So tells Parvati, she thinks Janine is in. Janine is in. She's like, yes, this is what she wanted. I think she's solid. And Parvati's like, okay, let's hope so. She's like, this is what we think it is. And now Luke is like, looking at, because Serena literally just called Janine over right after she saw the Luke, like, hey, it's Janine, and we talk. So he's thinking, okay, Janine, my whole game right now is in Janine's hands. If Janine goes with Parvati and Serene, I'm done. It is what it is. But if she sticks with me, I have a chance. Go to fire. It is what it is. It was just very interesting, this conversation that the four of them were having. But we knew it had to happen because we knew what it was coming down to.
Yeah, I think this was kind of an underrated move for Janine, because if her intention the whole time is, oh, I'm absolutely going to the end with Luke, it really helps to fake it to the other two and make them think that you're voting with them because A, you'll lull them into this sense of security so they won't be practicing fire, and B, you won't give them the opportunity to say, well, she's not going to vote with us anyways. Why not just vote her out and make her go to fire? Which I think would have been the better move here is do that because best case scenario, she is voting with you against Luke, and then it's a 2-1-1 vote. Janine goes. Worst case scenario, it's a tie still, and it's Janine versus Sari in fire, and Sari probably has a better shot. So that's what I would have done if I was Sari and Parvati. But if they really do believe Luke is such a threat to win in the end, I can see why they might not want to do that.
Yeah, I get it. And I think a lot of it that they were trying to debate between was really just they thought Luke had some votes locked up in a way that I don't, and I think they all kind of knew Janine wasn't really going to do much at final if she made it. They were kind of selling it like she's a really good speaker, so maybe, but that felt a little bit more like window dressing, and I think they all kind of read the room. I do think they missed an opportunity here, but I don't think it was catastrophic of a miss
Mm-mm.
as it
Mm-mm.
definitely could have been especially for Parvati.
Yeah.
But they kind of just did what they had to do, I think, or what they felt they had to do, and it just didn't work going into the vote in terms of convincing Janine.
Yeah. But let's get to tribal, because they go into tribal and JLP asks a very interesting question about if they feel like the world versus Australia, is that still such a huge part of the game, because Luke was very much preaching Aussie strong. Um, so and Parvati was like, I would like to think once we got to merge, it kind of blurred a little bit. Like more people were more fluent with playing with other people, because we have to start thinking about our own game at some point. You have to start thinking about your own game. You have to think about in game who you want to sit next to. And even if you're world strong or Aussie strong, do you feel like sitting next to these people would benefit or help you win this game? And so I liked how she answered. Her and Sari both were like, I felt like once we got to this point, we knew that the lines had to be blurred a little bit, and it wasn't just world strong, Aussie strong, because at some point you have to go against people, or go against other people and do your own thing. And so I thought that was a very interesting question, and I'm glad that they answered it the way they did. And I think everybody kind of like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting though that Luke was like, I think if there's two Aussies in the final three, that gives us a better shot at winning. Because I actually disagree. I think if you have two Aussies in the final three with one person from the world, then there's a chance that you're going to split the votes. Also, with that scenario, that means there's only 3 Aussies on the jury versus 4 world
people. Yep.
So it's almost an advantage to go in with the number down, whichever side you're on.
Absolutely. And I don't think he thought about that. I think he was just more like, well, the more people, the more opportunity to win. And I was like,
I think it was also trying to keep Janine thinking that.
yeah. And I think Luke could have, if he thought about that too, I think he could have made a smarter deal, like with Parvati and Sari, and be like, listen, I know y'all trying to get me out for Janine or whatever, but I'm willing to write Janine's name down, because I don't think having 2 Aussies who played together this entire game is a smart decision. But if he would have said that, they could have went and told Janine, and then Janine was like, "Oh, you going against me?" I don't know. I see the muddle and why we don't do that, but I can see a reason to do that also. But just me. But yeah, so they're talking, and I really think this tribal, a lot of the things that was said in this tribal carried into the final tribal, and we'll talk about that. But everybody was just like, it was Janine's answer that kind of made me go, okay, maybe. Like, maybe she's going to go the way me personally would want it to go. Because she was like, at some point, you have to do what's best for your game. You have to think about what's best for you, and what the game that you're trying to play, and how it will get you to the end. And I was like, maybe.
I think we also might have gotten a little clue here from Sari, because Sari was talking about how she's never made it to the end. She's like, if I can cross that off my bucket list, that might be enough to lay down my survivor hat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I know you have not laid it down.
That's exactly what I said too, David. I was like, well, Julie, she did not lay down her survivor hat. So apparently, but I was like, apparently it could have been she made it to the final 3 and didn't win because of the votes. But I'm
And
like,
we've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm retired. This is my last game of
yes.
Survivor," and then
And
they
then it
come
was
back
that.
again. So
Mhm.
you never know.
You never know. But we do go to the vote, and because Serena Poverty was because JLP was like Poverty is probably it's safe to say you and Serena voting together, and she's like, yeah, that's pretty safe to say.
Mhm.
And then Janine was like, and then that's when Janine was like, I mean, I just feel like when I play what's best for my game and how I get to the end. And so we go to the vote, and Poverty is Serene, vote Luke, like they say they are. Luke votes Serene, like they say they are. And Janine keeps her word to Luke, and she votes Serene. And so Serene and Luke are going to fire, and I was like, son
No,
of
no, no,
a
no, no,
gun.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
not
no, not
this.
again.
I was like,
Like,
not this again. Now, I was like, y'all are not finna embarrass my girl on this fire again. This season, like 2 times. You're not going to do it. I was like, you're not gonna do it. Oh, I was so annoyed, but I was like, okay, calm down,
I
Lana. Just
cannot,
watch.
I cannot
Oh,
possibly explain to you how much I was biting my bottom lip watching this challenge. Like, I was like,
I was
like
so
I'm just
annoyed.
seething.
I was
I'm like,
annoyed
I
when she
get it.
said three. Oh.
I'm like, for Janine, I get it. I understand why. I'm not mad at Janine. But that doesn't mean I didn't want Suri to make it to the final and like do all of these really great things in there.
I didn't want her
I
to
want
have
to
to
see her
make
in front of a
fire to
jury.
do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see her have to make fire again this season. I didn't. I'm like, we had 10 episodes. What do you mean? 2 of these episodes, she has to make fire. I am
Mhm.
so annoyed.
It would have been so full circle though, because her
Oh,
first season she lost in fire making challenge in Final Four. So it would have been so cool to see her win here.
oh,
But let me
but
tell you this:
here's the oh,
I'm gonna say this now. Sari in Survivor 50 is going to be the fire master. I bet
yes.
she went home and practiced nonstop every single day between this season and Survivor 50. So
Baby, she went and
she's like,
bought
you won't get
Flint.
me a fourth time.
Not won't get me again, baby. I know
Why do I
Sarigo.
feel like Suri literally said, okay, well, 50's coming up. I know Jeff is gonna give me a call because of course he will. I'm gonna just like
I'm
why do I
going
feel
to
like
Flint.
this was like her preamble for 50. Like they're like, hey Suri, you want to come do this season of Australian Survivor? Well, I do need to get warmed back up before I go back for 50. So absolutely. Like I feel like that was her entire intention, maybe, of coming back for this.
I just know she is at home and she got her flint and she got her wood and she got her kindling and she is scraping her magnesium. She is doing. I'm telling you, I feel you, David. First day, we gonna be like, "Oh, we need fire." Done. I've been practicing. Like she
Yeah.
is gonna make it known so nobody thinks to ever put her in fire. She gonna be like, "Nah, done. I got it. Fire's made. Let's go to bed, everybody." Like she's gonna have it done. I, I'm so sad. But I will say this. This was such an incredible fire making challenge to watch
Mhm.
for me. Number one, I was like, no, it's happening again. It started off Lucas getting his fire, he's doing a scraping, and he gets his spark and he gets his flame early. And I'm like, oh God, no. Because Saria's like, oh, okay, not happening. Nothing's happening. I'm like, not again. We can't do this to my girl again. Give her fire. Give her fire. And then we see Luke's fire just building, building, and then it goes out. And I'm like, okay, all right. And she's just going. And then he's building, it's coming back to life. And every time Luke's fire comes back to life, he goes, poof. And I was like, oh, Jesus, okay, calm down. And then he does it, and he gets it, and the fire's building, and then something happens. His TP collapses on top of the fire. Then we look over at Sari got spark, 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 poof, flame. And I was like, oh, we got a flame. I'm screaming. I'm like, we got a flame. Okay, go,
I smell
Sari.
that
Go,
husk.
Sari. Hold on. She she's blowing. And I'm like, yes. And Parvati's like, calm down, Sari. Add more house kindling. Add more. So she's like, okay. So she's getting it. Fire goes down a little bit. She blows some more. It comes back up, and she adds the kindling, and it goes up again. And Luke is like, oh shoot. Oh crap. Oh no. Oh no. His is going. His fire's starting, but the wind is like. So it's going all over the place. Then it collapses again. He's like, oh God. And so then Cerise built up.
When his fire collapsed, I gotta say, I lost my mind. I was like, oh, please.
That's all I'm saying. Because when it collapsed and Cerise built up, it's like, okay.
He was stressed out. You could tell.
He was stressed. He was
scared.
He was so scared. Because how would he look? The man who wanted this fire turns around and loses to the woman who couldn't even make the fire in the first time she had to make fire. Crazy. And her fire's building. And she's putting on her sticks and she's putting on her kindling. And it goes down a little. She blows it. It poops back up. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then his go down and it poofs again. Then he builds his TP up higher. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Dang it. And it's tickling, but the wind keeps shifting it. It tickles the rope and it shifted. And it fell again. And I was like, oh, Sophie, you can do this. You can do this. And her fire is slowly building. It's still building. It's still going. It was the most consistent fire we've seen from Sari. It was building. But his was just there. It was just, and he kept building. He kept throwing in the sticks. Then it was just like, I was like, oh shoot. Because you saw it tickling the rope a lot more. And then even with the wind shifting it kept shifting it to one side and it was still on the rope. And I was like, oh no. And Cerise wasn't there yet. It was like the rope was here and Cerise fire was here. And I was like, just go a little higher. And then it started doing it. But by the time her fire started tickling her rope, his rope was on fire. And I was like, oh, it's just a matter of time. And then
don't do it. Don't do it. Ah!
I was like, boo and B. I was like, no. I hate it here. She was so, and as she was talking and giving her like congratulations, it was like, oh yeah. Her fire literally burns the rope and her flame. And I was like,
look, take a clip of that. Take a clip of that fire burning her rope as she's talking. Hang it in the Louvre. Like that was art. That was beautiful.
Art. That was so.
It was the single most depressing piece of art I have ever witnessed in my life. Because look,
I hate to.
It hurts. The light burns.
So bad.
It burns.
It literally burns. Oh, I hate it. I hate it here, but.
Okay, but look, I just want to say, importantly,
mm-hmm.
still has yet to be voted out conventionally. That's an icon. Okay.
Icon legend.
How can you play Survivor 5 damn times? 5 times. Never make it to Final Tribal, so you didn't win any time. But every damn season you have been a part of, you have went out in some weird and wacky way before you got your torch snuff. She's never been the majority vote across 5 different seasons of Survivor. Absurd.
Greatest player to never win is like the moniker of Sari Fields. Like I know it's some people who got that, who also has that moniker and can say that, but incorrectly.
Who
but
would
you
get
can
that
never.
honor if it wasn't Sari? That's the real question.
I mean, it used to be Rob Sesternino.
Yeah, but like he played 1 time. I would like
he played twice.
They give that to Janelle from Big Brother. If we're thinking about all TV shows, they call her the greatest player who never win. So
I mean, there's an argument for Dom since he tied with Wendell.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good options. But
Sari is the only option.
But like when Sari wins Survivor 50, we're gonna have to have this conversation and try to figure out who's the best to ever win.
Because who's the one to
next? I think Ty's up there. I think Aubrey's up there. I think
I have the answer. He is a king. He's played twice. He's gotten
No,
near
no,
the end
no,
twice. King George
no.
is the best.
Hold
to
on,
never-
David. He's played 3 times.
3 times,
Well-
and he got out pre-jury. He
Okay,
didn't even
yes.
make it to jury this time. So no, that doesn't count for you.
But no,
Doesn't
I'm
count.
just trolling Brooke at
I
this
know,
point.
I know.
no. There's a lot
mean-
of good choices, but Suri is currently the correct answer until
Yeah,
she
she's
wins.
the correct. It is. I just cried. I was so sad, but I was so proud of her. This is like we've seen Suri just grow and do some like we didn't think she was gonna last 30 minutes on that thing. Like she outlasted everybody on the Australian tribe and holding that box on in that other challenge that they had to do that the world just annihilated the Aussie tribe. Like she was a part of that. She ate that up. So I and her fire did burn the rope. It just burned the rope after Luke's did, but it did do it. So I'm so proud of Sari. I am so proud of Sari. I can't even. I'm so proud of her. This is so good. This was so good. But uh, Parvati was just devastated. She was sad. They happy for Luke. Everybody was happy for Luke, but it was just like, dang. Okay, I have a question because I was like, maybe I was watching it too fast and I just didn't see it. Did Sari hug Janine when she left? Because I didn't see her
notice.
do it.
I didn't notice, but I'm sure she would. Like, what does she got to be mad at Janine for?
Because she lied to her face and
Yeah,
said she didn't
Sari-
do it.
But
Yeah.
Sari's not the type of.
No,
Sari,
she's not the type
Sari
of
has
petty.
lied so many times on Survivor, and we love her for it.
I just didn't see her do it because I saw her
Mm.
hug Luke, and then I saw her go to Parvati, and then I saw her go right to get her torch. But I also love the respect that JLP had for Sari in this moment because not only was he just so happy that she made this fire and this fire actually burned and he was celebrating with her, but she was just like, don't do it. He was like, Sari. Like, he was like, I don't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. Everybody wanted Sari in that final 3 because I think, to be honest, and I know this is my bias showing. Out of everybody left, she deserved to be in that final 3. She deserved, even if she didn't win, she deserved to be in that final 3. I would have rather, even if she deserved to be in that
Did you
final
guys
3.
see Lisa's face?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
Lisa was
about to say,
heartbroken.
where's Lisa?
We were
Devastated.
Lisa. We were Lisa. Lisa wanted Sari in that final 3. Lisa would have voted for Sari in the end
Oh, for
if she
sure.
made it. She would have voted for Sari in the end.
Being 100, okay. Perfect world, okay. Let's say Suri wins this fire making, and it's Suri, Parvati, and Janine. I think there is a very real world where Suri wins this season, and I'm not saying it's likely. I don't know how much the edit really shaped what actually happened on the show, because it's 16 days. We saw 10 and a half hours of it. We don't see everything, but I have to think that if everybody on that jury was as broken up as they were, I have to think a few of them would have thrown their votes at her anyway, especially considering somebody like Sarah, right, who we know what she ended up doing on the jury. I feel like she was kind of voting anti-Parvati a little bit. So I don't know if she would have won, but I definitely think she could have won.
I think she would. I still think the results would have been the way they are. I think the person who wins would have won anyway. But I think it would have been like the outcome would have been the same, except put Sari in the place of Luke.
Mm.
I think that would have been the vote count still. I think because we
With
have
Lisa.
to be. Yes, Lisa would have been that one.
I can see that.
Lisa would have been the one, and then everybody else probably would have went
Probably.
for the other person. So
I think Luke would have voted for Janine, personally.
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. I could see.
I could actually see Sarah doing it too. because I think Sarah was.
Maybe
I don't want to get too far ahead. I think Sarah was trying to correct
correct
her
her wrongs.
mistakes that
Yeah.
she made for not being loyal to that 4
So
early on.
2-1. Yeah, I can see that.
But I think it was Shannon Gus who pointed it out on Twitter. But Cerie Fields, the icon, the legend she is, that is the last torch JLP will snuff.
That is so cool.
Yeah. One icon
That is so
snuffing
cool.
out
Well,
another
the
icon's
icon's
torch.
torch. JLP, the icon that you are, got to torch out the icon that's real. Just snuff her torch. I love that. I
How
kind
dare
of
you,
think that
JLP?
he didn't want to do it.
I
He
know,
didn't
I
want to do it. He
And
was like,
also, while
oh.
we're on the subject of JLP, I just want to, for perhaps the final opportunity to do so on this channel, JLP, you are a fantastic host. You have literally made Aussie Survivor so special for the entire time you've been the host of the show. Screw you, channel what for? Channel 4.
Channel 10.
Channel 10.
Channel 4 is like, why am I in this?
They canceled them in the first place. It used to air on 4. Screw you, Channel 10, for this crap. I have no problem with David Gannett, but at the end of the day, there is a time and a place. If JLP was moving on and then they called David to replace him, it'd do one thing, but literally firing this man for no reason when he has been consistently the best part of the show for a long time, is one of the best parts of the show for a long time, is just baffling to me. So if that rumor about him getting a different hosting gig coming up soon is accurate, I will be very happy and I am very optimistic. But if you know, you know. Oh God, I'm still broken up about it, honestly. Like that might hurt me almost as much as Suri getting voted out tonight.
Yeah, I was definitely going to give this JLP his flowers at the end of this. Before we got off, before we ended the recording, because he deserves. He deserves. He was so fun to watch. He was such a great host. I like him. I think I like him a little bit better than Jeff. Oops, I said it. And he's so good looking. Oh my God, he's so good looking. But yeah, I love JLP. He was one of my, once I started watching Australian Survivor, I was like, oh, I like him. I like him a lot. So I was devastated to hear that news too. Like you said, Brooke, no hate towards David. I like David. David's fine. He's good to look at too. So he's gonna be fine to look at on Survivor Australia. Great. But JLP though. It's Jonathan. Like, that hurts.
As a huge fan of David, David's one of my all-time favorite Australian Survivor players.
Love him.
I'd rather have JLP.
Right. No hate to David, but it's Jonathan. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully he'll cross over. We'll see. But while we're on the subject of JLP, I was going to bring this up later, but I saw another tweet that pointed out how poetic it is that for his final tribal council as a host, the contestants are Janine J, Luke L, and Parvati P. JLP.
Oh, I did not even think about that. That's so cool. You know what? You couldn't have wrote that better. You couldn't have wrote it better. I love it. I'm here for it.
We needed Suri to go for that, I guess.
I guess if that's what we're doing, but
we could have went and we could have had Lisa instead. That's all I have to say about that.
But it's all right. But they go back to Cerie's torch gets snuffed. She's like, Parvati, go win this thing for me, girl. And she goes. They go back to camp. We see them wake up in the morning to a beautiful breakfast spread that of course, they deserve. They go get. And they're just talking about their plans for final tribal, how it feels to be in this moment. And Luke is like, everybody needs a Janine in their life because Janine helped him get to this point and cooked the wing eggs scrambled with the perfect amount of seasoning, so he loved that. So like everybody needs a Janine. Parvati is like, hey, I'm finna whoop y'all butts in this speeches. I know you are a public speaker and you do this, but I'm finna show you how it's done. And it's just a nice little moment. Honestly, I'm so glad this moment didn't last. Like they didn't draw it out too long. It wasn't like a long drawn out. Like, and what do you think? What was your favorite moment of the like? They've been there for what 16 days. We don't have time for this. Like, keep this as long as you had this season going. Rush it, get it done. Like, don't drag it out. And they didn't, thankfully, because who needed that? These three people have played before. They know what they're doing. We don't need to know. Oh, what did I love about this game? They just said, "This is what we're doing. I'm coming for you next. Final tribal is mine." Done. And I was like, okay, work. And then they got up and started grabbing their torches to go. And I was like, you've been nightfall yet, but what is this tribal like?
Can I just say personally, the thing that was like the most striking about this is going out towards this last part. They ended with Janine, and that kind of caught me a little bit off guard because they were like we have Parvati's moment, we have Luke's moment, but Janine's the last one to get to talk going into the end, like the commercial break. And hearing Janine talking about like she's ready to speak, she's a good speaker, she knows what she's gonna say, and she's ready to do it and ready to like earn this win and like all this other stuff. And hearing her go last, I was kind of expecting Janine to like maybe surprise me a little bit in this final tribal. I don't think she did badly from what we saw, but like it wasn't to what I expected from that.
I will say this, and I don't know if anybody realized this. At the beginning of the episode, they were doing their things and they started talking about, everybody had their moments. They showed Parvati have her moment. They showed Sari do her little moment, and they showed Luke have his moment. They did not show Janine having any moment. And I was like, what are y'all trying to tell me? And when I saw what happened and who was in the final three, I said, oh, so what are y'all trying to tell me?
I think they did actually, but it was Janine was talking because I have notes from it. It was Janine talking about Luke though, and just how her story involves Luke and whether or not she's going to stay. I thought what you were going to bring up is she said at the very beginning that she had to decide if she's going to stay with Luke or vote against Sari. And I'm like, why not Parvati?
Right.
So I think that was recorded after Parvati won immunity. So that's what I thought you were about to bring
that
up.
too. But I'm just saying, like when everybody had their little one-off moments. Janine didn't have one. At the very beginning, when they were doing their whole montages of different things, Janine didn't have one.
Part.
Yeah, Janine didn't have one.
Oh.
It was just a three, and I was like, what are we saying? Is this our final three? But then I was like, okay, no, it's not our final three. But what are we saying then if we're not adding Janine in the final four montage here? And so that was what was going through my head as I was watching this final three. So this final three, they start off with their opening statements, and Janine goes first. And Janine is very structured. Like she got her speech down. She broke it down into parts. She got her beginning, her middle, her end, and she broke it down in such the most professional way. I could see her being a public speaker, and if she was doing her keynote addresses, this is what she'd do. She would start off with her intro. She would get to the body of it, and then she would get to the closing of it, and that's what she did. And it was good. It was a good opening speech. I was like, okay, interesting. If I was in the jury, I would sit up. I would like, okay, I'm listening. I'm listening. I need to see what you do in these questions. So, because that's how I went into this whole thing. I was like, I'm putting myself into this jury. Who would I vote for by listening to what they have to say? And so I sat there and I was like, okay, I would listen. I would sit up and I would listen to what Janine is saying. She would pique my interest in her entrance, in her opening. So I'm like, now I need to listen to her questions. I would. If somebody give me a crappy opening, I'm sitting back here. I'm not listening to you in these questions hardly. Like, you're gonna have to say something really exciting to get me back on your side in the questions. But Janine had me sitting up. Luke, I liked his story in the beginning.
Sorry,
Oh, go
can I
ahead. Talk
just say
about
something
Janine.
about Janine? Yeah,
Yes.
I like Janine's as well. I also I specifically like that she was more interested in the title than the money, because obviously that makes sense. Put that out there. What I notice about her, and I think it was maybe a disadvantage going first, because she was a little bit more surface about her game, where the other two got into specific details. And I bet if
Mm-hmm.
she went third, she'd be like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay, let me give specific details. And I do think that might have hurt her, not being able to get ahead of it and say like specific things she did throughout the season
Mm-hmm.
early on. And then by the time it came to questions, I don't think people were as interested in anything she had to say.
Mm-hmm. What did you think
Sorry.
about Janine? Brooke?
I feel kind of bad, and this is part of the reason I've never been a huge Final 3 person. I've always kind of preferred Final 2s, because it does, and this is what usually happens in a Final 3 from what I remember watching a lot of seasons of Survivor, is it kind of comes down to a 2-horse race, and the third person just gets ignored, and it irritates me every damn time. Like, I remember watching Game Changers and legitimately thinking that Troyzan played a better game than Brett Culpepper. And I stand by that to this day. But the jury didn't perceive it that way, right? So by the end of Tribal Council, Troyzan's been pretty much ignored by the entire process. And he's just like, okay, I get it. Go ahead. I appreciate it. I respect it. Thank you very much. And like, ever since then, it has made me so acutely aware of how much I don't like Final 3s in comparison to a Final 2. But I will say, I get in this moment from where they're coming from with Janine, but I think Sarah's response to Janine was just inaccurate in a lot of ways to what actually happened in that situation. So, I mean, I don't really know what else Janine could have done in this moment. I'll be honest with you. Again, I understand why we have the Final 3s. I don't hate them. I just wish it was a little bit more. I wish we got to hear more from all of them instead of just seeing Luke and Parvati, Sarah dressing down Janine, Luke and Parvati. Like, and that's all we really got during pretty much the entirety of this final.
Yeah, I have a thing that I think would be a solution. I've been thinking this for years, but it probably will never happen. But what I think would be a cool thing to do at the final 3 is, before anybody gives their, or maybe let them give their opening speeches, then let the jury vote to remove somebody from the final 3. Stay with me.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I'm walking.
But it's a secret vote. And the only thing we hear from Jeff is whether it was unanimous or not. If it's not unanimous, put it away and let things continue as it would. If it is unanimous, then reveal the name and that person goes to the jury. Because if every single juror has decided you're last place, no matter what, just let them go to the jury, because they're not going to have a shot. But if one person has hope in them, let them fight their case.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought.
I think that would be an interesting twist. I think a lot of people would be like, man, because like I didn't got to this final 3. And then if the jury just perceives my game away and I don't even get to talk, but I do think letting them have their opening statements and then letting them vote would be a fair way to do it. It's like, look, this is your chance to persuade them to say that you have hope in this game. And if you don't,
Imagine if they did that on Heroes versus Villains, the US version.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell had to march his little troll ass over to the jury.
Oh,
It
it
was
would have
so
been
bad.
so. It would have been so
Glorious.
satisfying. Is it crazy of me to
Glorious.
think that there's a world where Parvati wins the tribal council in that occurrence? Just maybe.
But
Yeah. Again, it irritates me, and I do wish there was something we could do to like make everyone in the final three feel equally important, even if the jury. Like, I remember watching Redemption Island's final tribal a while ago, just like out of morbid sadism, and like watching the way that they were talking to Philip, right? Everybody knew Philip wasn't winning that shit. I mean, same for Natalie. They all knew Rob was going to win. But just rewatching some of these final threes, it happens so often. And it's such a aggravating occurrence to me.
Yeah, it was interesting. We go. Luke then talks, and he starts off with the story about him and his audition process in Survivor back in 2019. Talking about he said he wanted to be the most dominant player in Survivor, and everybody laughed. And now here he is. I was like, so are you saying you're the most dominant player in Survivor? Hmm, okay, questionable, but we'll see. Um, but then he goes into why he feels like, the game that he played and all the things, the moves that he felt he made, getting Poverty to tear up the parchment, um, getting aligning himself with Janine, voting out the people who he felt needed to, even though he wasn't right on most of the votes, he still found himself in a position where he knew he had to switch up, and he adapted very well when it came into the game. He started with Janine, then he moved with Parvati and Sabree, and he got him to this final four. He made a contract with Janine, and the contract paid off because he is sitting here in the final three. He just, I thought it was a good argument for him as well, and I was like, okay, sounds good, makes sense. Again, I would have sat up and I would have listened to what he had to say after his speech. So I thought Luke did a good job as well.
Yeah, I thought he did a very good job. I mean, it's easy for us fans to be like, "Oh, he voted incorrectly early on." But I think there's something to be said about starting off with a rocky road and finding the correct path. A lot of our favorite winners have done that.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really smart. And it was also a good idea to be the first person to put out the narrative about Parvati ripping up her advantage, because that
Hmm.
made him look like the person who was controlling that, making Parvati do something that wasn't in her best interest. We'll talk about how she responds to it, but I thought it was a great start for him, and I
Hmm.
could tell the jury was perked up. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, at least three or four of these people, they look extremely receptive. So
And
this is
listen,
where I started getting worried.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I will say I didn't really like his speech that much, and maybe that's just me, but like
It's you.
I just didn't see the through line of it. Like the opening piece was like, oh, that's cute. And then it just kind of went like, I did this, cool, I'm happy for you. But I never really got any of the like, this is why I did this in the opener that I like, and I don't need it all the way through. That's part of the reason for the questioning, right? I just wish he was a little bit more clear as to some of the reasoning in this. I feel like he kind of used some of his best material super early and didn't really give an explanation for it outside of the vote, the advantage ripping, and that was good, I think.
I mean, the Janine stuff, he talked about that early on, and he had a payoff for it at the end where she was paying the balance of her contract by voting with him. So I thought that was a through line, but
I think what he did was he made his speech open up himself for a lot of questions. And I think that's what you need to do in a final, because you want them asking you questions. You don't want to be the person sitting there with no questions being thrown your way. So his speech to me opened it up for people to ask him questions about, okay, so why did you do this? And what is this about? And why did you do? And so sometimes in final threes, I think that is a good thing. It works. It doesn't always work. So that doesn't always work because sometimes people just ignore you and it doesn't work. But sometimes it does work if you open it up for people to ask you these questions on the why and the how and this and that. And I think he did a good job at that. And I think him being like starting it with the antidote that he did and then putting in the whole I have outwitted people, I have outplayed people, but I have never been able to outlast everybody. And now I finally got a chance to outlast all the people and get to this point. It wrapped it all up. And it was like, okay, this is what he's doing. This is why he's doing it. And I think that's why it made people perk up a little bit more because the way he presented it was like, hmm, okay. It makes you go, all right, I want to know more. I want to know why. And I think the way Janine presented it and wrapped it up, she closed it. She literally closed it and didn't leave room for people to ask her questions.
Yeah.
She closed it up while Luke, he opened it and left it open so people could say, oh, okay, so why? So, okay, so what did you do with this? So, how did you do this? So, I liked how he did it. Like I said, sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes people ignore that and be like, whatever. But I think it worked for him in this situation. But then you had Parvati. And then you had Parvati. Because Parvati came into this final with her speech. She gave us emotion. She gave us reason. She gave us thought provoking, like she opened it up for questions as well. And she had a through line. All of her things made sense, what she was saying. It was very much like she hit everything that needed to be hit in an opening statement because this is just your opening. You still got to have material to bring out when they ask you questions and you don't know what these questions are. She still made room for people to ask her for things, and she laid out what she did in this game. Oh, good. She had my favorite opening statement, and I was like, "Uh-oh, y'all. Okay. All right." She told y'all at that breakfast that she knew what she was about to say, and she came with it. And she
Mhm.
did. And she did.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought her best move was knowing who her biggest opponent was and taking a chop at his knees a little bit by saying, you know, that advantage I have? Oh, that was because of his error. He should have known better than to send me back to camp at the auction. So that was his bad. But she also left room to reveal other things later on because she
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk about how it benefited her, the ripping of the thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she saved that for later on. So I like that she gave us some moves that she had, and then saved some more that she could talk about throughout the
Absolutely.
tribal council. Smart.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was just a masterclass on how to give an opening statement on Survivor. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
want to see somebody explain their logic and explain what they did and a little bit of why they did it and give you enough to want to know more about why they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Parvati's final opener here. This was just really great. I think this was one of the best opening statements possibly ever on Survivor. Like, this is up there with, like, as much as we don't like him, Nick Wilson's opening statement is that quality to me. And, like, I think Nick and, like, Todd and, like, those people have given some incredible opening statements. This is right up there with those guys for me.
Yeah, she did great. But then we get to the questions. And this is where it gets juicy and good because a lot of stuff and we saw Janine just got shut out in these questions until one question came her way. And so it was like, okay, we know what's happening here because it was going back and forth, like you said, Luke Parvati, Luke Parvati. Okay, Janine, this is one for you. Okay, right, Luke Parvati. So I was like, okay, let's talk about the one though question for Janine though. Because like you said Sarah didn't have to, you felt like she was wrong in that situation. And
I
I want
agree.
to know.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I'm talking about you, Brooke, because
Oh,
you
yeah.
said you felt that Sarah was wrong in this situation, and I want to know why because I want to know.
Okay, so when you're coming in Aussie strong, and Sarah is the one to break that up because she is the one telling people that she wants to come after Kirby, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Janine, who was on the bottom of the Aussie tribe, her and Luke were, if you were to go based on the previous structure coming into the merge of Shawnee, Sarah, and Kirby being together, and then Janine and Luke being on the bottom of that 5, right? Janine is trying to curry favor with Kirby and be like, hey, I'm just letting you know one of your close allies is saying this about you. You might want to be careful, right? So in that moment, that is Janine being loyal. It's not her being loyal to Sarah. It's her being loyal to Kirby, right? So when I hear Sarah's like, oh, but you knew that Kirby was going to come after me. How could she know that? How could she possibly know how Kirby is going to respond to every given situation and scenario that comes after her? Because that's not how Kirby has always played games like this. This isn't Kirby's like entire philosophy in life. Sometimes she kind of is like, okay, we'll give it a second and then go after them later when she has the ammo and the numbers to do it, right? And also, I think she was going after Sarah at this vote regardless. I don't think Janine is the reason she went after Sarah to begin with, because I think she wanted to work with Parvati and Sari more than she wanted to work with the Australians. So I don't think what Janine did in this situation is even remotely cause for Sarah going home, personally.
Really?
I kind of disagree with you on that.
I really do.
I do, because I think Janine knew exactly what she was doing when she told Kirby that Sarah was coming after her. She knew exactly what she was doing. And she knew, as much as you sit there saying you don't know how Kirby was going to react, she knew how Kirby was going to react, because this was before Merge that she told Kirby that Sarah was coming after her. And she knew that. And so if they would have went to Tribal that time before Merge, Kirby was going after Sarah. She knew that. Even if Sarah was like, never mind, don't tell, never mind, that's it, strike it from the record. You can't hear what you heard. And so Janine telling Kirby that Sarah was coming for her, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was putting that strain on the Aussie tribe, because she knew that Kirby was going to come after Sarah. Even before Merge or after Merge, the only reason she didn't do it before Merge is because they won. And they didn't go to Tribal that time. So she knew, because Kirby would have, if they went to Tribal, Kirby would have 100% voted for Sarah, because she was already feeling some type of way about Sarah anyway. So she knew what she was doing. I don't think it was she didn't know how Kirby was gonna react. Yes, you did, because you saw how Kirby reacted when you told her. And Janine talked about, well, I would have said, no, let's not go after each other right now, Aussie strong. If she would, you saw the face Kirby made when you said Sarah is coming for you. Kirby said, what? Oh, okay. Like in that moment, that's saying, yeah, all right. Bet. That is a bet moment.
I don't think she knew going into that conversation, is what I'm saying.
But I'm saying you knew what you were doing when you told Kirby that about Sarah in the first place. There is no reason you knew, because she said it. My plan is to put a wedge between Kirby and Sarah. She said that going in. So she knew what she was doing. Just own up to that. That's what I didn't like about Janine saying, I didn't know. I'm like, yes, you did.
What's funny is Luke was actually the one who encouraged her to go tell Kirby.
Yes.
And sure enough, as this was going down, Luke was playing innocent. Like, oh, Janine, this was your fault? I'm surprised she was not like, hey, you knew about this. We knew we were on the bottom, and we did something to change it up.
That up. Yep.
Yeah, because this was, like Lana said, it was the last episode before Merge, and there was a risk that the 3 girls that had an alliance were going to keep voting together. So this was specifically to pit those 2 against each other. At least that's how I perceived it.
That's how I saw it too. I'm like, she knew what she was doing when she went over there. And the fact that she was like, I would have said not to do it. You didn't have the reason to, because y'all won and you didn't have to go to Tribal. Like, it just wasn't it. So, but I just thought it was weird. And I was like, hey, you knew. You knew. Because Kirby gave that look like, say word? She said, bet. Like, I would have taken that as, girl, she's going to take her out. She's going to take her out. Like, absolutely. Look, we've all played enough games to know that look. When we go tell somebody, they said your name in the other room.
Yeah.
What? They said my name? Okay.
But also
Okay,
Kirby
I
was
like
like,
that.
you should, if you know how I play, if somebody says my name, I go after them. I'm like, what about Ferris? What about Ferris? Because Ferris surely said your name so many
So
times throughout
many
the season.
times, Kirby. He said your name so many times, and you didn't do it. But hey, we all play different in different games, so I get it was funny. I just thought I was like, yeah, she knew, but I thought it was funny. I didn't think that that was my flaw with Janine in that point. I was like, girl, you knew, but I thought she would have threw Luke under the bus too because he knew too. And when he was talking about so Janine did it, I'm like, oh no, Luke did it because Luke was the one who told me to go tell you. I wouldn't did it because like absolutely not. You ain't gonna throw me under the bus and act like you just so innocent you didn't know, Luke. Not that it mattered, but anyway,
I want to. Can I talk about Tommy's question?
yeah.
Okay, because this was one of the more entertaining for me because I feel like not a lot of people were really challenging Parvati
They
to
were not. They
difficultly,
were not.
but he did. He was like, "Were you ever going to work with me?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to work world." No, I'm not talking about at the merge. I'm talking about like me and Tommy, not you in the world. Like, okay, yeah, I'm fifth out of the world. And he made Parvati own up to the fact,
She was
yeah,
never
I
gonna work
mean,
with him.
you weren't really a priority to me. And I love that. Like, be honest about it.
All your stuff.
Mhm. And then Luke sees the opportunity. I wanted to work with you. We were the only guys. And I was like, this is a good move for Luke trying. And I was expecting Tommy to vote for Luke as a result of how this all went down.
Can I
I
be
think.
100%
Go ahead.
honest? Oh, sorry. I felt that Luke chime in might have been the worst thing that happened at the Shrine
I
Council.
agree.
Oh, really?
I agree.
For anybody, because it felt so fake. Like it felt so fake to me. Like you tried to work with Tommy when, girl, when? Like you could tell me that you went to the World Tribe and you tried to work with them, but then you
And
didn't
then they
go on
went to
this one reward, and that's when you were like, nope, no, that's not how that happened, Luke.
No.
I thought it kind of was.
Okay, to a degree, but
Okay,
also,
so
when it comes with where he was at and what, like the way he was talking about it made it seem like, oh, I really wanted to work with you, Tommy. He didn't really try that hard.
I mean, he tried to get them to vote out Parvati. He put out the lifeline for them with Shawnee, and he wanted to work with the internationals. They ended up taking Parvati and Sari on the reward challenge, which was a big sign to him that, okay, I guess you all don't want to work with me. That's when Luke did pivot with Janine and work with the people from USA. I thought it made sense.
I felt like he was trying to pacify Tommy in that moment. It felt very passive aggressive and patronizing to me, actually. I wanted to work with you, Tommy. I did. See, she might not have, but I did. And here's my thing. They put too much stock in this stupid spa trip. Like too much stock went into that stupid spa trip. And I feel like what did Cass? Oh, you mad at Cass? You weren't mad at Tommy. Tommy didn't pick to go on the trip. So no, you didn't want to work with Tommy. This was Cass's decision to take these people on the spa trip. So if you mad at anybody, you mad at Cass. You did not want to work with Tommy because if you wanted to work with Tommy, you would have pulled Tommy aside and say, "Hey, what we doing? Because I really want to work with you." No, you didn't. You didn't, Luke. And it felt very patronizing to me when you did it because right after Poverty, you had to admit that, no, Tommy, you were not in my priority of people I wanted to work with. No, you were in mine. Where? Where, Luke? Where? Like, he was what, fourth in yours too? So he wouldn't have made it to final. If he worked with you, he still wouldn't have made it to this final three. He wasn't there for you. He was not in your thing. So I agree with you, Brooke. It felt very forced and fake and phony to me. And if I was Tommy, I would have been like, don't patronize me, bro. Like, please stop and don't do that to me. And he would have lost my vote in that one. He would have lost my vote with that whole thing because I would have been like, yeah, nah, kid.
See,
I don't believe it.
And I will say, I think Tommy just wanted Parvati to own up to that.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I think that's what he wanted. I think if Parvati had like not responded that way and been like, no, Tommy, I really, really, really wanted to work with you. You were one of my like preferred people. he wouldn't have voted for her. But I think
Mm-mm.
on top of the fact that she owned up to it, was like, okay, yeah, you weren't my biggest priority individually. You weren't my biggest priority. You never really were.
You were
And
like fifth in the world for me.
yeah.
And apologies, we've been saying Tommy wrong this whole time.
Tommy,
Tommy.
Tommy, I'm sorry, Tommy. But Tommy did not, he was nobody's priority, unfortunately. And I do agree. I think he needed to hear Poverty own up to the fact that she was like, no, you were not on my priority. And it was what it was. And Tommy did see more of how Parvati played with the tribe, being on the world's tribe with her. He saw how she played. He saw every man that went against her went home. And he tried it and he went home. So I just think it was like, yeah, he saw that, he respected it, and then the fact that she owned it, I felt like he got his moment. Um, I felt like the least uh question that we didn't even need. Sorry, Lisa, we didn't need that question. What makes you happy about what makes you happy about Survivor? I'm like, they pretty much said it in their opening statements why they like this game so much. Most of them did. I don't think Janine said anything, but I was like, that's the least like this question. Oh, fluff, got it. Uh,
We also only got to
but
see Luke's answer to that question, and I bet you she probably
yeah.
asked all three of them, and they just
I'm
cut it for
sure
time.
they asked all three. I think they asked all three all the questions except the ones that were specifically for those people. Like the Tommy's was for Parvati, Cerise was for Parvati. But I think everybody else had general questions that was probably for everybody, and they were just like,
You don't think
we're
they
gonna
did a
keep
Big
going.
Brother format? Here's your
Why should
designated
you win
question
over
for
the
one
person sitting next to you?
I would be so pissed. That would drop this season out of the top 3 for me for sure.
Well, I will say though, speaking of Suri, Suri's question to Parvati really got to me.
Got me, choke me up, choke
Yeah,
me up.
it was beautiful. And again, we talked about it a lot more earlier when we were talking about like the two of them, and that's the segment we got with them. I don't really want to go into that part again, but just hearing Parvati explain, this might be the only time I've ever seen Parvati get actually emotional on Survivor, talking about how much she loves and cares for Suri, and on like a personal level and on a game level, how much they like the term Survivor soulmate. I cannot think of very many other pairs throughout the history of the show that have earned that title with each other in this way. And I think this is one of the very clear examples of two people that definitely have. Like maybe like Rob and
Natalie
Amber,
and Jeremy.
Natalie and Jeremy, Rob and Amber, like a couple other groups of people, but those two specifically, I mean, there's two of the most popular players of all time for a reason. So getting to see them talk about how much they love and care about each other is always special.
My one thing that I was a little like, I wanted Parvati to say, and it kind of annoyed me that she didn't say it. I wanted her to go into a little bit of like, I wanted to rewrite this. I wanted Sari in this final 3 because she didn't get to do it with me in Micronesia, and that she deserved to be there. And I wanted her here. I wanted to sit next to her, one like I wanted to make that wrong right. Like that's the only thing Poverty could have said that had me sobbing and melting on the floor. I would be like, so beautiful. I just wanted her to say, I wanted to right a wrong. That's all I needed her to say. And I would have been like,
What if she
period.
had what if she had been like, well, Luke was my biggest competition, so I wanted him out and I wanted a goat to sit next to me. So Sari, that's why I would have been like, you're canceled.
Oh,
You're
I would
canceled.
cancel Poverty Shallow so bad. I'm like, wait a minute. You better mean the greatest of all time. You better mean the greatest of all time. Because if you calling her a goat like a 0 vote Parvati, like I'm looking at you, girl. But no, she did. I'm so glad she didn't say that because I would have hated to have to come on this podcast and cuss Parvati out because I don't cuss nobody out, but I would have did it for Sari. I would have did it. But okay, I'm cool. That was cool. I just wanted her to say that she wanted to right the wrong and have Sari sitting in the final 3 like she rightfully should have been. But I would have been melting and sobbing on the floor for like 10 minutes if she said that. And I didn't have time. So thank you for not saying it, Parvati, because I would have been late for the podcast because I would have been still crying.
Right.
But so good.
I can't remember how this got brought up or who asked, but we had Luke talking about the parchment again.
Mhm.
And
asked about it.
Okay, it was
Cass.
Cass. And he
And
was.
I will tell you, this was my favorite question from the jury because
This was
this really
Okay,
felt
Brooke,
like
hold on.
Oh.
You cut off David. David was right in the middle of talking.
Oh, well. I mean, it sounds like you have a setup for how
Both of y'all were setting up the
okay.
same thing. So who gonna set it up?
Yeah,
Cass asked the question basically asking about what happened to the parchment, why she did what she did. After Luke had already been asked another question by Shawnee about his gameplay. And these two questions being back to back were just beautiful and delicious and wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had Luke. Yeah, you're fine. Luke was talking about how this was a move that only benefited him. Dangerous. Don't say that unless you know for sure, because that gave Parvati the perfect opportunity to swoop in there and say exactly why it benefited her to rip up that parchment, because she got him, a person who didn't tell anybody about his idol, she got him to open up with her and tell her that she had an idol, and she was able to rip that parchment up to build a Final Four agreement with Luke. Because surely if she had not done that, if she refused, if she stole his idol, she would have been the biggest target for him and Janine. So it absolutely benefited her. It benefited her even more.
And this led to Parvati being able to explain the whole parchment. And that, my friend, is what got Cass to go, "Oh, got it. Bam.
And we
Vote
called it.
done."
We called it.
I was like, she did that. Once Cass heard that and realized she got played so hard by Parvati, I was like, okay, Parvati's vote count has now gone up one because Sari was voting for Parvati. I think I was like, Lisa's voting for Parvati. That says it for me. I think when she owned up to Tommy about him not being, I said, add Tommy to the list. He about to vote for her. When she said that about Cass and how she played Cass out of that vote and then got her out, bam, that
It's
was
a wrap.
vote number 4. That was a wrap. I was like, she just locked this down. And I don't care how you look at it. I don't care what the other ones do. I don't know what's about to happen with them other votes. But those 4 right there, she just got her tribe. They locked down. The world tribe just got locked down, and Parvati locked them all in because Lisa was locked down with Sari's answer because the way Parvati answered that about Sari, and Lisa was just like, "Oh, I love Sari." Like, locked down. I was like, check, done. Tommy, check, done. You weren't my priority, done. Cass, oh, yeah, I played you. I had to use this before Jonathan said it's time to vote, but I didn't, and you fell for it. And Cassie's face said, was like, check. Then, here
Kirby.
was the nail in the coffin. Kirby. Kirby sat there and was like, was this a breakup or something? Like, I just felt like, did you mean what you said? Like, I felt like they were in a relationship.
How does this translate to the bedroom?
Right?
How does
Maybe
this
this is what it felt like. I was like,
Oh, my bad.
I was like, are y'all girlfriends? Are y'all dating? Or what happened?
I ship
And
it.
she was like, because I really felt that. And I felt, were you honest about this? And Parvati was like, oh no, I really, really wanted to work with you. I wanted to, but I had this solid 4 coming in. And when the train started rolling and the waves started turning, I couldn't jump off. I couldn't jump on the track, even though I thought about it. So I thought about playing my idol for you. And in that moment, I said, I pulled out my pen. I said, check. There goes vote number 5. The way Kirby sat there was like, okay. To hear somebody like a Parvati Shallows look you in the face, who you know is a Survivor
shut her up.
legend, look you in the face and say, I want to work with you, but I couldn't. I was willing to use my idol for you, but I would have turned the people against me, who I'm now sitting in this final 4 and 3 with. Like, I couldn't do it. Kirby was like, "You get it? You're my girl. You're my girl." I felt that. I was like, it was a wrap.
I have long believed that Todd Herzog has the single best performance of any person in the history of Final Tribal ever. I don't know if I believe that anymore. I really don't. I cannot think of a single flaw in Parvati's entire run here. Like, period. I think every single answer and every single statement she gave was correct. It made sense. It was explained really well. Specifically when she handled Cass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her going, I read the first 2 sentences of this advantage. If I had read the 3rd sentence of this advantage, you would have not been duped by it. But you know what happened to you, Cass? You know what really got happened here? You were, one second, hold on.
Planned, bamboozled, and hoodwinked.
Mm-hmm. You were
And
hoodwinked.
she got him. And I think every single person on that jury in that moment realized, oh crap, she got us. I think that also got her Shawnee's vote in that moment.
I think so too.
Was when she told everybody just how much she duped Cass. I think Shawnee realized, oh crap, I got duped by that too. What the hell? And I think that got Shawnee's vote in that moment too. I really think and the handling of Kirby is up there with the handling of Jean Robert. Like, just how quickly.
That's why I said she shut her up, like James said.
Yeah, like, so great.
When you said about a flawless performance in the final tribal, this was one of them. And I don't. You said Todd. I don't remember his final, but I do. I do remember a very recent person who kind of cleared with their final, and that's Marianne. And cleared. And I think this was on the level of clearing that Marianne did, that Parvati just did in this. So this was master. Like I have been saying since Marianne's performance, that's a master class of how you do a final tribal. Parvati has just stepped in that whole masterclass conversation. This was a masterclass. She had an answer for everything, and even when she was a little flustered by Tommy, she got it back. She got it back. She was like, no. You were okay. Yes, you were there, but you weren't my priority. And he was like, okay, that's all people in the jury want to hear is the honest to goodness truth. And she did it. She just did it so flawlessly. And I said going into the season, into this game, this episode rather, I was like, Parvati has played the best game this season. She, on both sides, she has played the best game. I think the result would have happened this way, regardless of who she was sitting next to, because she played the best game, period. And she said this was her best game, and she ain't lying. This was the best I've ever seen Parvati play Survivor. And her going out this way, because, ain't no point of talking about it. She won. She won. She won. And she deserved to win because she's freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. And she played 16 days of the best Survivor I've seen anybody play. She just ate it up.
And I want be remiss if we did not mention the fact that she was a singular vote at this tribal council away from playing a perfect game.
Yep.
Sarah, not going to be mean. Sarah, I will never forgive you for that.
Sarah, I know what you're trying to do, but it's a little too late for that. You just go by who played the best game at this point. But it's okay.
Sarah, I will never forgive you for this.
We did have, they did show Cerie's vote.
Yes, they show Cerie's vote.
Cerie declared that Parvati is the best player of all time. Do you know what?
I love that.
I have always said, I think Parvati is a little overrated. But that's because I saw her first season. I thought she was fine. Her second season, I felt like, especially in the previously on Survivor, she got a lot of credit for moves that were primarily Cerie's. So as a huge Suri fan, that rubbed me the wrong way. Her third season, she played a great game. Sandra won. Sandra's one of my all-time favorites. Parvati's fans were unbearable. I'll just say it. They were unbearable at the time.
What do you mean
for
were?
Sandra fans.
What do you mean were?
They still are?
Fair. So
look, no shade, okay? The fact that it was 15 damn years ago and we are still arguing who deserved to win Heroes versus Villains in 2025, it ain't no word. They still are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So she's somebody that I've always respected. I've liked, but she's never been in my top upper echelon of favorites. That has absolutely changed this season. I do think she might be the best player that's ever played, which I never thought I would say that about Parvati. I never thought I would say that.
I'm going to have to agree because what we saw in this season alone and combine that with the other things that she's done in her previous seasons is undeniable at this point. This girl is good at this game. She is Survivor, and her 2 wins, and she's tied with 2 wins now. I know Tony is somewhere, and her is punching the air like, ah! But I love this for her. She is definitely Mount Rushmore of Survivor players. She is definitely on there.
Mm-hmm. You mean that second boot? That second boot?
Russell is literally punching the air right now. He is, he is mad.
Look. We have seen 3 people win the game twice now, right? I'm gonna take Tony away from this conversation for a minute, not invalidating Tony whatsoever. But it is so satisfying to me that Sandra has 2 wins, Parvati has 2 wins, and I will again say
Russell has none.
None for Russell.
None for Russell. He's still looking for his win. There's none for you.
Apparently, there's like 8 people that have won twice, which was news to me. I saw something online in like all these different countries. Yeah, there's several of them. So
well, I love that, but I like that, but yeah, I do have to believe Parvati for me has etched it as one of the greatest Survivor players of all time. And that's no tea, no shade to nobody else except Russell, but she has stamped that because this was a flawless game. Even in the mistakes I thought she made, the way she overcame them outweighed the mistakes. So I was like, okay, what mistakes?
I just found out one of the people who's a 2-time winner internationally. I'm stunned. I'm sorry. I looked up the list because I was curious. Freaking Turbo from the challenge has won Survivor twice.
Love that Turbo because I loved me some Turbo. I don't care what nobody say. They can hate Turbo all you want. I loved me some Turbo. Turbo was all right with me, period. But alas, we must talk about this. Congratulations to Brooke and to Logan for picking Miss Parvati Shallows for winning our draft. I love that it's not a singular winner because I would have been very butthurt about that personally. So I love that they'll have to share it. So half a win for you, half a win for Logan. Oh, shout out. Y'all made it up though. But this was so fun. This is just so fun to do. I
do this every year.
I would love.
That then brings me to the current rumors that are going around.
Yes.
I don't know if you all have seen them.
I have seen those current rumors.
Is that U.S. production has seen how much people have been going crazy over Australia versus the world, and they are in conversation with Channel 10 to standardize both formats. I'm hoping that would mean U.S. would become closer to Australia, but I doubt it. And
I hope so.
Standardize the formats and have one season of U.S. filmed every year for 39 days, and then have the other slot be filled by Survivor Australia with a versus the world, basically turning into Australia versus U.S. being filmed and put on Paramount Plus every year. If that is the case, and that does happen, no notes.
I will be here for it. I mean, I would love to see more of the other international survivors get involved in this. But if it's just Survivor US versus Australia, I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that too because I think that'll be fun. And this, this, how can I put this? Because see, UK tried Survivor, that was whack. So I don't really want
Oh,
them involved in this anymore. I
we need
don't
to see
want.
Christopher play it.
I don't. It was whack. I don't. I'm sorry. It was whack. I didn't like it. But this invisible this beef that's been going on for years between Australia and the United States and a bunch of stuff, especially at the Olympics and stuff like that. If you watch the Olympics, that's been a thing. So I'm kind of like, let's find it out in Australia in Survivor. Let's find it out on Survivor. That'll be cool. And I would hope it will open up more things for other shows to do versus the worlds and things like that with other franchises of other shows because I would love to see it. But
Mm, yeah.
some people need to get their act together first before we start bringing the world into our mess. But yeah.
I'm a little skeptical. It seemed like a memo and nothing concrete. So
Yes.
I don't personally think it's going to happen, but I do think it is a missed opportunity for the U.S. to not maximize on having a regular All-Star season every year.
Mm-hmm.
You can do one civilian season and one All-Star season a year, just like Drag Race does. And I think that would actually be very successful. Or do two civilians a year and then put an All-Star on Paramount Plus. Yeah, I'm never going to be mad at more Survivor. It's my favorite show.
I would just love to have more like the idea of making Australia and US more similar to each other in terms of their presentation. That alone is interesting to me because one of my big problems that I've had with US for the past, I'll say since the start of the new era, really, Winners at War. Since Winners at War is that it doesn't feel like the same show anymore to me. And I've had this shiny Australian version over here to compare it to that still feels like Survivor to me for the most part. I'm hoping that if this kind of thing does happen, even if they just go back to one civilian season a year from US and they do stretch it back out to that 39-day mark, I think that would make them have to take a look at how they're airing things again. I don't think we would be getting 18-person seasons every year. I don't think it would be recycling the same twists from the two seasons that filmed at the same time. I hope not, at least. And I would hope that with that change, it would bring about more interesting stuff in the future from US. But regardless of anything, this season was incredible. And it was lovely.
It was incredible.
I do think I have one more hot take regarding the 39-day season, because we've seen US Survivor go from 39 to 28, I think.
26.
Yeah, 28,
26, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And this one was only 16 days.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel it. I'm okay. Like if it helps with production costs and it keeps the show on the air, I'm okay with less days. Because we're still getting active gameplay. We might have seen faster paced gameplay in this season because of the shortened time span. So I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it either.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't mind the shortened days either. Specifically, though, with the way it's affected US Survivor more. Because it's like this being a 14-person cast over a set amount of days, like that's fine and doable and workable. I just feel like US Survivor is so complacent right now, and they're so fine with it being the same and like not wanting to change anything, and they like the 3 tribes and they like the Final Four fire making and all this other crap that they've diluted the game with. So I think making them have to stray from that brand and stretch the game back out again would be good for US Survivor, is all I'm getting at. Like, make them have to think more than just be able to go back to what they've done before in the past, which they've been doing a lot of.
I think so too. I think that I would like them to stretch it out a little bit. If not the time, the days of the game, but like I would rather them go back to 2 tribe games instead of 3 tribe games. I would rather them not do the Final Four fire making challenge. I would rather them come up with, just keep it straight survivor and strategic and votes and things like that. But I also think watching this season of Australia versus the world, maybe we could have all-star seasons in the midst of that with just 16 days. Give us that, and it's all stars because we know these people are coming out and they're going to play hard. And, I just think that you know what, David, I can't even look at it and then not. I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, just have it regular Survivor where it's votes and it's not all the twists and stuff like that. But I think having an all-star season with 16 days with these all-star players who've played the game before, who know how to play, coming in hard, playing hard off the top. I think that works. I think this format works. It made it so much more exciting. So save the 16-day games for all stars and then do longer seasons for newbies so they can learn and get their feet wet and do it. And then when they get a chance to come to all stars, they hit the ground running too. I think us having this 26-day game and, like you said, a little complacency in US Survivor, it kind of makes people play a little lackadaisical, and I don't like it sometimes. Some seasons are good, and then some seasons flop, and it's just like, we could have really good seasons back to back to back if y'all just gave them time to play. Let these new players get their feet wet and give them time to play. They don't have time to play with 26 days. For me, I don't feel. So
Well,
I can see both sides.
Well, the interesting thing about it, too, is if you have a 39-day season and a 16-day season, that's only 3 more days than 2 26-day seasons. And, they can stay another weekend, okay? I don't see what the issue is with that. But, oh well.
I think they could do it.
Yeah. I think what they've figured out with US Survivor lately is a very safe format because there are not many bad seasons lately. We've had some really rough seasons in the first 40 seasons. I don't think we've had any complete flop season, but we haven't had any great seasons.
So right.
It's just like a safe format with very little room for variance, at least based on.
Yeah, it's too complacent. I would like them to do more, to try more, so we can have a lot more of excitement happen instead of being very straight line, we're here. This is going to be safe. Everybody's going to know what's happening. We got these little twists we go throw in there, which may or may not upset the fan base, but whatever. It just I don't know. But that was that, y'all. We have had an amazing season of 10 episodes of Survivor Australia versus the World. It's been a joy watching it. I've had so much fun. I appreciate you, David, you, Brooke, Logan, Jack. Y'all, we have come in and in some variations talked about all 10 episodes, and it's been wonderful. It's been amazing. I'm super excited about everything. I cannot wait for I hope they do it again. And if they do it again, I'll be watching it. This is so good. But thank you all for watching. We truly, truly appreciate you for taking the time to watch all of our recaps. If this is your first time and you hadn't seen it and you just stumbled on us, go watch all the rest of them because trust me, they're all good. Follow us on this page, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to all of our channels. All the links will be in the description below, as well as our audio podcast links, our Patreon, all of our socials at The Cut Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, where you can get your merch at lanag'screations.etsy.com. They're all there. And we're going to get out of here. So I need y'all to cheers one last time in Australia. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.